Welcome to F1 Blogs. We're diving deep into Formula One driver drama today, specifically Red Bull Racing.
Oh yeah, this is juicy stuff.
We're dissecting a video from the Race en Español. They really know their F1, so...
Definitely a credible source.
Yeah, they break down Sergio Perez's uncertain future with the team. It's got everyone talking.
It really highlights how intense Formula One is. Red Bull's at the top right now. Max Verstappen just won his 4th championship in a row.
Unbelievable run.
It is. But it puts pressure on their second driver to deliver too,
To keep up with that level of success.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you've got Checo, signed a contract extension through 2026.
Just earlier this year, too.
Yeah, and now there are rumors he might be out.
Wild. Confusing, right? So let's rewind to the start of the season. Checo started strong, but his performance dropped off, especially compared to Verstappen.
The video focuses on Checo's results, specifically some key races, like in name of specific race mentioned in source, he made this strategic error, cost him points, let other drivers gain ground.
So one mistake can snowball.
It can. Those kinds of mistakes, over time, contributed to his 8th place finish in the championship standings.
Okay, so it wasn't a great season for him, but is it all on Checo? The video also mentions things like car development and team strategy affecting a driver's performance.
Right. Formula One is a team sport. The driver is just one part. Maybe Red Bull's car development favored Verstappen's driving style. Without meaning to, they put Checo at a disadvantage.
Makes sense.
Plus, the team's race strategies might have played a role.
Like that time when specific instance of team strategy from the source, the video uses that as an example of how Red Bull's decisions maybe hurt Checo's performance.
Yeah, and don't forget the mental side. Imagine the pressure of competing alongside Verstappen, who's just dominating. That's got to be tough.
No kidding.
The video even has Checo saying something like, exact quote from Checo about mental pressure from the source. You can hear the toll it takes being Verstappen's teammate.
Wow, so much going on behind the scenes. Sounds like Red Bull has a tough choice to make. Stick with Checo, who they know, but who's had these struggles. Or
take a chance on a younger, maybe cheaper driver.
Exactly. This is where the video gets interesting. It digs into the two guys who could replace Checo, LAWSON and YUKI TSUNODA. Both have strengths and weaknesses.
Makes it even harder for Red Bull to decide.
It does. So first, LAWSON. The video calls him a raw talent, tons of potential. Seems like Red Bull thinks they could shape him into a top driver, like another Verstappen.
They directly compare LAWSON to TSUNODA in the video. They raced each other this season when LAWSON filled in for Ricciardo. Red Bull was impressed with LAWSON, especially his mental toughness. They think that's key to handling the pressure of being Verstappen's teammate.
That makes sense. But TSUNODA's got F1 experience already, and he's backed by Honda, Red Bull's engine supplier. Huge factor.
Massive. The video stresses how important that Honda factor is. They've invested heavily in TSUNODA, and it's rumored they're pushing for him to move to Red Bull.
Adds another layer of complexity, huh?
For sure. Red Bull can't just look at the driver's performance. They got to consider their relationship with Honda, too.
Especially with Honda switching to AstonMartin in 2026. They need to keep things smooth now. It's strategic.
Totally. And then there's the money side of it. The video says Checo's contract runs through 2026, so if Red Bull wants him out, they might have to buy him out. Could be pricey.
And this is actually the second time Checo's faced early contract termination in F1. Back in 2013, McLaren dropped him. That's got to be tough, psychologically. Do you think that adds to the pressure he's feeling?
It's hard to say for sure, but the video includes this quote from Checo. Exact quote from Checo from the source. He seems resigned to the fact that he might leave Red Bull despite the contract.
Wow. And this is the same guy who said earlier this year, contrasting quote from Checo from earlier in the year about his commitment to Red Bull. Total shift in tone. Sounds like the pressure's getting to him.
It's understandable. To go from feeling secure to facing the possibility of being replaced, that's unsettling for anyone. But in Formula One, where it's all about results, it's not unusual for drivers to be let go, even with a contract.
Yeah, no guarantees in this sport. So we've got performance issues, contract complications, possible replacements, and a ton of pressure on everyone. Crazy. Don't forget, you can find more Formula One analysis and news right here on F1 Blogs.
Yep. We'll be back soon to discuss what Checo leaving might mean and what factors Red Bull will consider in making their decision. Stay with us.
Back with our deep dive into the Red Bull driver drama. Remember, we're looking at Checo Perez's future with the team. And
yeah, could he be on his way out? We were talking about the guys who might replace him.
LAWSON and YUKI TSUNODA. What's wild is how this whole thing could impact the entire Red Bull team.
Maybe even the whole sport.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
Let's say Red Bull does replace Checo. What happens?
Well, they've made some pretty bold choices with their driver lineup in the past. They're not afraid to shake things up. Remember when they swapped Kvyat for Verstappen mid-season in 2016?
Yeah, that was a big move. And it worked out pretty well. Verstappen became a world champion.
Exactly. But it also shows how Red Bull prioritizes winning, sometimes making tough calls.
Right. So now they're weighing Lawson's potential
Young, hungry.
against Tsunoda's experience and the Honda connection.
Right, can't forget Honda. The video from the race en Español suggests Red Bull's leaning towards Lawson.
Why is that?
They think he's got the mental strength to be Verstappen's teammate. They highlight that a lot. Remember Gasly? When he moved up to Red Bull in 2019.
He didn't last long.
He really struggled. It seemed like the pressure of racing alongside Verstappen got to him.
So Red Bull's trying to avoid that happening again.
Exactly. But Tsunoda has that Honda backing, which is crucial for Red Bull, at least until the end of 2025.
Right, when their engine contract with Honda ends.
Yep. Choosing Lawson over Tsunoda could ruffle some feathers with Honda, especially with them going to Aston Martin in 2026.
Another layer to consider. But what about Checo? If he leaves Red Bull, what's next for him?
Leaving a top team, even if it's negotiated, can be a setback for a driver.
Sends a message to other teams, maybe?
Yeah, like he's not quite good enough for the top. And getting another competitive seat in F1 is tough.
Especially now, most teams have their lineups for next year sorted out.
Right. The video points out this isn't Checo's first rodeo with this. Remember McLaren dropped him back in 2013?
After just one season.
Yeah. Which is weird because he's had some of his best results with Red Bull. Race wins, contributing to championship wins.
He's done well for them.
He has. But Formula One is all about what you've done lately. Past success doesn't guarantee you anything.
It's brutal.
It is. The video makes it clear that pressure to constantly perform at the highest level, it's intense.
Especially when you're up against a teammate like Verstappen who's just on another level.
Yeah. This could be a turning point for Checo's career.
Where does he go from here?
Maybe he'll try to find a spot on a midfield team, a place where he can be the lead driver.
Or take a break from F1 altogether.
Could be. There's a quote in the video from Checo. He says exact quote from Checo about his future. You don't hear F1 drivers talk like that very often, you know?
He sounds unsure.
Yeah, a bit vulnerable. It's a reminder that these drivers, they're human, they've got emotions, they're dealing with the same ups and downs as anyone else.
Just on a much bigger stage. It makes this whole story really interesting. It's not just about the racing. It's about the human drama behind it all.
Totally. Formula One, yeah, it's about technology, it's about speed, but the human element is huge.
Absolutely. So the Red Bull driver saga continues. The last race of the season is in Abu Dhabi. All eyes on Checo, Lawson, and Tsunoda.
It's like musical chairs, high-stakes version. Only one driver will be left standing at the end.
And for Checo, the stakes couldn't be higher. His entire F1 career is on the line. But before we get to Abu Dhabi, let's zoom out a bit.
Look at the big picture, right?
Yeah. What does this whole thing tell us about how Formula One really works? What about the pressure these drivers deal with?
And what does it mean for the future of the sport? We'll explore those questions in the last part of our deep dive. But first, a quick reminder. Subscribe to F1 Blogs for all the latest F1 news, analysis, and those behind-the-scenes insights you love. Back in a flash.
And we're back. Final part of our deep dive into the Red Bull driver drama. We've been talking about Checo Perez, his uncertain future.
The whole team's affected by this.
Totally. So last race of the season coming up, time to look at the bigger picture.
What's this whole saga telling us about Formula One, the pressure on these guys?
Right. What's it all mean?
One thing that really stands out, the video talks about this too, is how cutthroat Formula One is.
It's a business, right?
Totally. Performance is everything. Even a driver like Checo, who's helped Red Bull win championships,
Contributed a lot.
he can be replaced if he's not delivering.
That's harsh.
The video compares Checo to other drivers, guys like Ricciardo and Vettel.
Big names.
They were considered top drivers, but they couldn't keep up that performance in the end.
Makes you wonder, what happens to drivers when they, when they can't compete at the top anymore?
Some guys, like Alonso, they find a new spark, join a different team, and have a resurgence.
Others, like Rosberg, retire while they're on top.
Walk away when they're winning.
Maybe they know they can't keep performing at that level forever.
Smart move. The video also talks about the challenges of being Verstappen's teammate.
You're always being compared to him.
Constantly. Any mistake you make, it's magnified.
The video mentions Gasly. When he was Verstappen's teammate at Red Bull, his confidence just plummeted.
It's like Verstappen casts a shadow.
Makes you think about Red Bull's management style, too. Have they made it impossible for anyone to succeed alongside Verstappen?
Maybe they need to rethink how they handle their drivers. So as we head into Abu Dhabi, the Red Bull driver saga, it's not over yet.
Nope. Checo's future is still up in the air. Lawson and Tsunoda are waiting for their chance. And Red Bull, they got to make the right call, for the whole team's future.
Totally. This is fascinating stuff. Performance, politics, all these emotions.
Why we love Formula One.
It's the human drama. So if you've enjoyed this deep dive, and I know you have, make sure you subscribe to F1 Blogs. We've got you covered for all the latest news, race results, insights into the world of F1. We'll keep you ahead of the game in the fastest sport on the planet. Thanks for joining us.